Hey guys, tonight we're easing into the surprisingly serene yet sticky life of an ancient Egyptian beekeeper, a man who coaxed liquid gold from buzzing clouds in a land baked by sun. You've probably seen images of pharaohs and pyramids, but trust me, being a real beekeeper in ancient Egypt was nothing like a glamorous royal decree. It was a sun-drenched, bee-stung, back-breaking, honey-soaked existence. And in most cases, it probably smelled amazing. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Imagine yourself nestled deep in the Nile Delta, where the river splits into countless streams, nourishing a land teeming with life. You wake up tomorrow and the sun hasn't risen. You are reborn as a beekeeper in ancient Egypt. There are no weather forecasts, no protective suits, only instinct, tradition, and the unwavering hum of countless bees. The year is 1500 BC, and your life revolves around the ebb and flow of the Nile and the golden bounty of its bees. Your world is defined by the scent of blooming papyrus, the taste of sweet dates, and the constant, gentle thrum of wings, a symphony of honey and heat. The ancient Egyptians so valued bees that their hieroglyphs included the bee symbol to represent Lower Egypt. The bee was sacred and a symbol of royalty. Honey was more than just food. It was medicine, a tribute to the gods, and a key to eternal life. But right now, all that matters is preparing for the day ahead and hoping for a generous harvest. The coolness of the pre-dawn air kisses your skin, a welcome change from the stifling heat that will arrive later. You pull a rough linen cloth around your shoulders, the weave scratching lightly against your skin. The scent of the Nile hangs heavy in the air, a mixture of damp earth, fish, and the faint, sweet fragrance of distant blossoms. You can hear the awakening sounds of the village. The distant braying of a donkey, the murmur of voices as your neighbors stir, and the rhythmic splash of water being drawn from the well. Your own small hut is simple, made of mud bricks and roofed with reeds. Inside, your family sleeps soundly on mats woven from papyrus. You pause for a moment, watching them, a wave of affection washing over you. You know that their well-being depends on your success as a beekeeper. Before tending to the earthly needs, you turn to the spiritual. In a small alcove, you light a simple oil lamp, its flickering flame illuminating a small statue of a bee goddess. The ancient Egyptians revered bees, believing them to be sacred creatures with a direct connection to the divine. You murmur a prayer, asking for her protection and guidance, a plea for a bountiful harvest and safety from harm. You offer a small piece of honeycomb from the previous harvest, its golden surface glistening in the lamplight. The scent of beeswax fills the air, a comforting and familiar aroma. Next, you prepare a simple breakfast of flatbread made from emmer wheat and a handful of dates. The bread is coarse and slightly dry, but the dates offer a burst of sweetness that awakens your senses. You eat slowly, savoring each bite, mindful of the energy you will need for the day's labor. You drink from an earthenware jug filled with Nile water, cool and refreshing. You gather your tools. A smoker made from a clay pot with a small opening, a brush made from reeds, a curved knife for cutting the honeycombs, and several empty clay pots for storing the honey. Each item is worn and familiar, a testament to years of use. You check your simple protective gear, thick linen cloths to wrap around your head and arms, offering some defense against bee stings. It's not much, but it's all you have. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself for the inevitable pain. Bee stings are a constant companion in your life, a reminder of the power and resilience of these tiny creatures. You know today will be a trial of endurance. A common belief was that bees were born from the tears of Ra, the sun god, giving them a divine status. Historians debate the actual methods used by ancient Egyptian beekeepers. Did they truly understand bee behavior, or were they simply lucky observers? Some suggest they even transported hives on boats along the Nile to follow the bloom cycles. It is believed Egyptians moved hives up and down the Nile following the bloom, a practice some beekeepers still use today. You leave your hut, stepping out into the cool darkness. The stars still twinkle overhead, but the first hint of dawn is beginning to paint the eastern sky. It's time to go to the apiary. You wonder what the day will bring. Will the harvest be plentiful, or will the bees be angry and sting you relentlessly? Will you return home with a bounty of honey, or will you face disappointment and empty pots? Only the gods and the bees know for sure. Regardless, you will face the day with courage and determination, knowing that your family's livelihood depends on your skill and perseverance. You adjust the linen cloth on your shoulder, take one last look at the sky, and begin your walk towards the apiary, your footsteps echoing softly in the stillness of the morning. The path to the apiary winds through fields of emmer wheat and barley, their stalks heavy with ripening grain. The air is filled with the chirping of crickets and the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. You walk barefoot, the cool earth soothing your tired feet. You observe the landscape, noticing the subtle changes that mark the passing of time. The Nile is your constant companion, its waters flowing steadily towards the sea. You pass farmers tending to their fields, their backs bent low as they weed and irrigate the crops. They nod in greeting, their faces weathered and tanned by the sun. You exchange a few words, sharing news and gossip. The sense of community is strong in your village, a bond forged by shared labor and mutual dependence. You see a group of children chasing each other through the fields, their laughter echoing through the air. You smile, remembering your own childhood, the carefree days spent playing in the sun. But those days are long gone. Now you have responsibilities, a family to care for, a livelihood to secure. As you walk further, the scent of the papyrus thickens, a sweet and slightly musky aroma that is both intoxicating and familiar. The papyrus plants grow tall and dense along the banks of the Nile, their feathery heads swaying gently in the breeze. You see birds flitting among the reeds, their songs adding to the symphony of the morning. You scan the horizon, searching for any signs of trouble. Bandits are a constant threat in the Nile Delta, preying on farmers and travelers. You carry a simple wooden staff for protection, but you know that it is no match for a determined group of thieves. You also worry about the wild animals that roam the countryside, jackals, hyenas, and even the occasional crocodile. You know to be vigilant and avoid straying too far from the path. You pass a small shrine dedicated to the god of the Nile, Happy. You pause for a moment, offering a silent prayer for the river's continued bounty. The Nile is the lifeblood of Egypt, providing water for irrigation, transportation, and sustenance. Without the Nile, there would be no crops, no honey, no life. You think about the bees, the source of your livelihood, and your constant fascination. You marvel at their complex social structure, their tireless work ethic, and their ability to transform nectar into liquid gold. You know that bees are essential to the health of the ecosystem, pollinating crops and ensuring the continuation of plant life. You worry about the threats to their survival. Pests, diseases, and the ever-present danger of human interference. You are just a part of a long tradition. Ancient Egyptians even kept detailed records of their beekeeping practices. Archaeological evidence indicates that beekeeping was widespread in ancient Egypt, dating back to the early dynastic period, around 3000 BC. You reach the crest of a small hill, and the apiary comes into view. A collection of clay hives, arranged in neat rows, basking in the golden light of the rising sun. The air is alive with the hum of thousands of bees, a sound that is both comforting and energizing. Your heart quickens with anticipation. It's time to begin the harvest. The apiary is a small, enclosed space, carefully designed to protect the hives from the elements and potential thieves. A mud brick wall surrounds the area, providing a barrier against the harsh desert winds and offering some measure of security. The entrance is narrow, just wide enough for a person to pass through, and guarded by a simple wooden gate. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of beeswax, honey, and the faint, earthy aroma of the surrounding fields. The sun beats down relentlessly, turning the enclosed space into a veritable oven. Sweat begins to trickle down your brow as you step inside. The hives are arranged in neat rows, each one a simple clay cylinder with a small opening at one end. They are stacked horizontally, one on top of the other, creating a series of interconnected chambers. The ancient Egyptians didn't have the sophisticated hive designs of modern beekeepers. Their hives were basic, functional, and perfectly suited to the climate and available materials. These clay cylinders are rough and unglazed, their surfaces textured with the marks of the potter's hands. You run your hand along the cool clay, feeling a sense of connection to the craftsmen who created these essential tools. You've heard tales of people using upside-down wicker baskets covered in mud. Who knows if those rumors were true? Each hive is carefully positioned to face east, capturing the warmth of the rising sun and providing the bees with a clear flight path. You notice that some of the hives are decorated with simple geometric patterns, painted in bright colors. These decorations may have served a practical purpose, helping the bees to identify their own hives, or they may have been purely ornamental, a way of adding beauty to a functional space. You approach the nearest hive, listening intently to the hum of the bees. You can discern subtle variations in the sound, indicating the mood and activity level of the colony. A low, steady hum suggests contentment and industry, while a high-pitched buzz signals agitation or alarm. You hope that the bees are in a calm and cooperative mood today. You've heard stories of bees attacking in swarms, driving people away with their relentless stings. The thought sends a shiver down your spine. You observe the bees as they fly in and out of the hives, their bodies laden with pollen and nectar. They are tireless workers, constantly gathering resources to feed their colony and produce honey. You marvel at their dedication and their unwavering commitment to their community. You also know that you are about to disrupt their carefully constructed world, stealing their precious honey for your own benefit. You try to reconcile your needs with theirs, acknowledging the delicate balance between human and nature. The knowledge that you'll leave plenty of honey for the bees to survive assuages your fears. As you move through the apiary, you notice the small details that reveal the life cycle of the bees. You see larvae in open cells, capped cells filled with honey, and the occasional dead bee lying on the ground. You also notice the presence of other insects, ants, spiders, and the occasional wasp. These creatures are both a nuisance and a threat, competing with the bees for resources and potentially attacking their hives. You make a mental note to address these problems later, ensuring the health and safety of your colonies. Historians have found evidence of sophisticated pest control techniques used by ancient Egyptian beekeepers. They likely used a combination of natural remedies and careful observation to manage the threats to their bees. One thing is for sure, beekeeping in ancient Egypt wasn't just a job, it was a way of life. You feel at peace here among the hives. You prepare the smoker, carefully placing dried dung and straw into the clay pot. You light the mixture with a small ember from your oil lamp, coaxing it into a smoldering fire. The smoke rises slowly, carrying with it a pungent aroma that is both unpleasant and strangely comforting. You know that the smoke will calm the bees, masking their alarm pheromones and making them less likely to sting. You approach the first hive, holding the smoker in one hand and the reed brush in the other. You gently puff smoke into the entrance of the hive, watching as the bees become disoriented and retreat into the depths of their colony. You wait for a few moments, allowing the smoke to take effect, before carefully removing the clay lid from the back of the hive. The interior of the hive is a marvel of natural engineering. Honeycombs made from meticulously crafted hexagonal cells fill the space from top to bottom. The cells are filled with glistening honey, capped with beeswax and teeming with bees. The air is thick with the sweet aroma of honey, a scent that makes your mouth water. It's almost time. You use the reed brush to gently sweep the bees away from the honeycomb you intend to harvest. You work slowly and deliberately, avoiding any sudden movements that might agitate the bees. They buzz angrily around you, their stingers poised, but the smoke seems to be keeping them at bay. You select a honeycomb that is full and ripe, its cells capped with a thick layer of beeswax. You use your curved knife to carefully cut the honeycomb from the hive, separating it from the surrounding structure. The knife is sharp and precise, allowing you to remove the honeycomb without damaging the surrounding cells. You lift the honeycomb from the hive, marveling at its weight and its perfect symmetry. It is a testament to the tireless labor of the bees and their unwavering commitment to their colony. You place the honeycomb into an empty clay pot, taking care not to spill any of the precious honey. The honey is warm and viscous, dripping slowly from the cut edges of the honeycomb. You repeat the process with several other hives, harvesting only the ripest honeycombs and leaving plenty of honey for the bees to survive. You work with respect and reverence, acknowledging the delicate balance between human needs and the needs of the natural world. An ancient Egyptian law allowed beekeepers to claim ownership of any swarm that landed on their property, reinforcing the importance of bees and honey production. When the pot is full, you cover it with a tight-fitting lid, sealing in the honey and preventing it from being contaminated by dust or insects. You carefully carry the pot back to your hut, your arms aching from the weight. You know that you will repeat this process many times throughout the day, working tirelessly to harvest the golden bounty of your bees. You wonder how your ancestors did this without modern equipment. Historians speculate that ancient Egyptian beekeepers may have used a variety of techniques to minimize stings, including wearing heavily padded clothing and working at night when the bees were less active. The weight of the honey-filled pot presses into your shoulder as you trudge back towards the village, the sun climbing higher in the sky with each step. Sweat stings your eyes, and the linen cloths offer little relief from the heat. The hum of the bees fades behind you, replaced by the chirping of crickets and the distant calls of birds. The rhythmic creak of a water wheel grows louder as you approach the edge of the village. The same heat that bakes the honeycombs also beats down on the potter, kneading clay down by the river. His name is Amenmos, and his hands are perpetually stained with the ochre hues of the Nile silt. He dreams not of golden nectar, but of perfectly formed vessels, smooth and strong enough to carry water, store grain, or serve as offerings to the gods. His life is a cycle of digging, shaping, firing, and selling, a constant struggle against the fragility of his materials and the fickle demands of the market. Amenmos's workshop is a simple linta constructed from mud bricks and reeds, open to the air on one side. The floor is packed earth, worn smooth by years of use. A crude pottery wheel sits in the center of the space, its surface stained with clay and water. He powers the wheel with his feet, spinning it slowly and steadily as he shapes the clay with his hands. His movements are precise and deliberate, honed by years of practice. He can feel the clay yielding to his touch, transforming from a shapeless mass into a vessel of beauty and utility. The Nile provides the lifeblood of his craft. He mixes the clay with water from the river, creating a smooth, pliable substance that is perfect for shaping. He also uses the river to cool his finished pots and to transport them to market. Unlike you, who offer prayers to be gods, Amenmos also offers prayers to Khnum, the ram-headed god of creation, asking for skill and inspiration. He worries constantly about the quality of his clay, the heat of his kiln, and the demands of his customers. One bad firing can ruin an entire batch of pots, leaving him with nothing but broken shards. The competition from other potters in the village is fierce, and he must constantly strive to improve his craft and lower his prices. He dreams of creating a masterpiece, a pot so beautiful and perfect that it will be admired for generations to come. His hands are rough and calloused, cracked from the constant exposure to clay and water. The tips of his fingers are worn smooth, almost numb. He feels a deep satisfaction in creating something beautiful and useful from the raw materials of the earth. The same clay that forms his pots also serves as his canvas. Amenmos decorates his pots with intricate designs, using simple tools made from bone and wood. He etches lines, curves, and geometric patterns into the wet clay, creating images that are both beautiful and symbolic. He also uses colored slips, made from mixing clay with mineral pigments, to add depth and vibrancy to his designs. Common motifs include lotus flowers, birds, animals, and scenes from daily life. These decorations are not just ornamental. They are a way of telling stories, preserving traditions, and honoring the gods. His pots are more than just functional objects. They are works of art, expressions of his skill, his creativity, and his deep connection to the world around him. Back at your hut, the sun is now high overhead, casting harsh shadows across the landscape. You set the pot of honey down carefully inside your dwelling, the cool mud bricks offering a welcome respite from the heat. Your family greets you with smiles and eager eyes. Your wife, Nefertari, takes the pot from you, her touch gentle and reassuring. She examines the honey, her eyes widening with approval. She knows that this harvest will provide sustenance for your family and a valuable commodity to trade in the market. She sets about preparing a simple lunch of flatbread, vegetables, and a small portion of the newly harvested honey. The honey is a special treat, reserved for celebrations and special occasions. You savor each bite, enjoying the sweetness and the energy it provides. Your children clamor for more, their faces smeared with honey. You laugh, sharing the precious treat with them, knowing that their happiness is your greatest reward. After lunch, you rest for a while in the shade of your hut, seeking refuge from the midday sun. You close your eyes, listening to the sounds of the village. The murmur of voices, the braying of donkeys, and the distant splash of water. You drift off to sleep, dreaming of honeycombs, bees, and the endless flow of the Nile. When you awake, the sun is beginning to descend, casting long shadows across the landscape. You feel refreshed and energized, ready to resume your work. You gather your tools and prepare to return to the apiary for another round of harvesting. Before you leave, Nefertari offers you a small amulet, a symbol of protection and good luck. It is a carved image of a bee made from faience, a glazed ceramic material. She fastens the amulet around your neck, whispering a prayer for your safety and success. You kiss her goodbye, promising to return home safely with another bounty of honey. As you walk back towards the apiary, you reflect on the importance of your work. You are not just a beekeeper. You are a provider, a protector, and a vital member of your community. You are responsible for ensuring the well-being of your family and for contributing to the prosperity of your village. You take pride in your work, knowing that you are playing a valuable role in the intricate web of life. Historians have uncovered evidence of sophisticated trade networks for honey and beeswax in ancient Egypt, indicating the importance of these commodities to the economy. The sweet treat was used as payment for goods, services, and even taxes. You arrive back at the apiary, ready to resume your task. The bees are still buzzing, their activity undeterred by the heat of the day. You prepare the smoker, gather your tools, and begin the process anew. The work is hard, the hours are long, and the stings are inevitable, but you persevere, driven by your love for your family and your commitment to your craft. You are a beekeeper, a servant of the bees, and a vital part of the ancient world. As the sun dips lower on the horizon, you find satisfaction in a hard day's work. The afternoon light casts long shadows across the fields as you return to the apiary. The bees are less active now, their buzzing quieter and more subdued. The air is cooler, a welcome change from the intense heat of midday. You approach the hives with caution, aware that the bees may be more sensitive and defensive as the day draws to a close. The honey pot from the morning is heavy now, and the smell of beeswax and honey wafts around you, a comforting aroma of success. You pause by the entrance to the apiary, taking a moment to observe the scene before you. The sun sets down the Nile, with a symphony of colors painting the sky. You feel a sense of peace wash over you, a feeling of contentment and gratitude for the simple beauty of the world. You are grateful for the opportunity to work with the bees, to harvest their bounty, and to provide for your family. You are also grateful for the beauty of the natural world, for the warmth of the sun, the coolness of the breeze, and the endless flow of the Nile. The river is a highway, carrying trade and tribute up and down the land. You prepare the smoker once again, carefully replenishing the dried dung and straw. You light the mixture with a fresh ember, coaxing it into a steady stream of smoke. You know that the smoke is essential for calming the bees and preventing them from stinging. You also know that the smoke is a temporary measure, and that you must work quickly and efficiently to minimize the disruption to their colony. You approach the first hive, puffing smoke gently into the entrance. You wait for a few moments, allowing the smoke to take effect, before carefully removing the clay lid from the back of the hive. The interior of the hive is still teeming with bees, but they are less agitated than they were earlier in the day. They move slowly and deliberately, their bodies laden with pollen and nectar. You select another honeycomb that is full and ripe, its cells capped with a thick layer of beeswax. You use your curved knife to carefully cut the honeycomb from the hive, separating it from the surrounding structure. The knife is still sharp and precise, but your hand is growing tired from the repetitive motion. The knife cuts clean through the comb, and the honey is ready to be transported. You place the honeycomb into another empty clay pot, taking care not to spill any of the precious honey. You repeat the process with several other hives, harvesting only the ripest honeycombs and leaving plenty of honey for the bees to survive. You are mindful of the bees, working with respect and reverence, acknowledging their essential role in the ecosystem. You also recognize the importance of your own role as a steward of the bees and a provider for your community. According to ancient Egyptian beliefs, bees were thought to be born from the tears of the sun god Ra, imbuing them with a divine status. This belief may have influenced the way beekeepers treated their bees, fostering a sense of respect and reverence. After a long day of work in the apiary, the sun begins to set. As dusk settles over the land, you finish harvesting the honey from the last of your hives. The clay pots are heavy now, filled to the brim with the golden liquid. You carefully seal the pots with their lids, securing the precious cargo for transport back to your village. The air is cool and still, the buzzing of the bees replaced by the chirping of crickets and the distant hooting of an owl. You pause for a moment, taking in the peaceful scene. The sky is ablaze with stars, a breathtaking display of celestial beauty. You feel a sense of awe and wonder, contemplating the vastness of the universe and your place within it. You offer a silent prayer to the gods, thanking them for their blessings and for the bounty of the harvest. You shoulder the heavy pots, preparing for the journey home. The path is long and arduous, but you are buoyed by the knowledge that you are carrying sustenance and prosperity to your family and your community. As you walk, you reflect on the lessons you have learned from the bees. Their tireless work ethic, their unwavering commitment to their colony, and their ability to transform simple nectar into a precious resource. You realize that these qualities are essential for success in any endeavor, and that you can apply them to your own life. You are determined to work hard, to be diligent, and to contribute to the well-being of your community. You also resolve to be more mindful of the natural world, recognizing the delicate balance between human needs and the needs of the environment. You are a beekeeper, a steward of the bees, and a vital part of the ancient world. You know the value of hard work, of community, and of living in harmony with nature. You arrive back at your hut, exhausted but fulfilled. Your family greets you with joy and gratitude, helping you to unload the heavy pots of honey. You share a simple meal together, savoring the sweetness of the honey and the warmth of your companionship. Before you retire for the night, you take a moment to reflect on the day. You have worked hard, you have harvested a bountiful crop, and you have strengthened the bonds with your family and your community. You drift off to sleep, dreaming of bees, honeycombs, and the endless possibilities of the future. The ancient Egyptians used honey in a variety of ways, including as a sweetener, a medicine, and an ingredient in cosmetics and perfumes. It was also used in religious ceremonies, offered to the gods as a symbol of wealth and prosperity. The weight of the honey feels lighter with each step as you draw closer to the village. The scent of wood smoke hangs heavy in the air, mingling with the sweeter notes of your cargo. The first stars begin to pierce the twilight, mirroring the flickering lamps that dot the village streets. The night air grows cooler still. That same smoke stings the nostrils of Tjayaset, the baker, as she pulls another batch of loaves from her oven. Unlike you, she has no quiet apiary, no commune with buzzing life. Her days are filled with the grumbling of customers, the relentless heat of the oven, and the constant worry that her bread will be too dry, too hard, or simply not enough to feed the hungry mouths of her village. She envies no one. Tjayaset's bakery is a small, cramped space built from mud bricks and roofed with reeds. The oven dominates the room, a massive clay structure that radiates intense heat. The walls are blackened with soot, and the air is thick with the smell of smoke, flour, and yeast. She works tirelessly, kneading dough, shaping loaves, and tending the fire. Her hands are strong and calloused, her face flushed from the heat. Her hair is pulled back tight from her face. She has no time for elaborate hairstyles or makeup. Her focus is solely on her bread. The process begins long before dawn, when she grinds the grain between two large stones. The work is backbreaking, and the dust fills her lungs, but she knows that she must grind enough grain to meet the demands of her customers. Once the grain is ground, she mixes it with water and yeast, creating a dough that she kneads with her hands for hours. She adds a pinch of salt, a touch of honey for sweetness, and a handful of spices to enhance the flavor. The dough is then left to rise in a warm place, allowing the yeast to ferment and create a light, airy texture. When the dough has doubled in size, she shapes it into loaves and places them in the oven to bake. She judges the temperature of the oven by feel, adjusting the fire to ensure that the bread is baked evenly. Too hot and the bread will burn. Too cool and the bread will be doughy and unappetizing. She knows all about the Great Pyramids, but she feels no sense of patriotism. Tjayaset relies on her intuition and experience to guide her. She has no measuring tools, no thermometers, no fancy equipment. She simply relies on her senses, trusting her hands, her eyes, and her nose to tell her when the bread is ready. TJSET's bread is a staple of the village diet, providing nourishment and sustenance to people of all ages. She bakes a variety of different types of bread, from simple flatbread to sweet honey cakes. She also bakes bread for religious ceremonies, offering loaves to the gods as a symbol of gratitude and devotion. Her bread is more than just food. It is a symbol of community, a source of comfort, and a link to the past. Her breads use unique herbs and spices. This keeps customers coming back. As you enter the village, the scent of TJSET's bread mingles with the familiar smells of home: wood smoke, cooking fires, and the earthy aroma of mud brick dwellings. The setting sun casts long shadows, painting the scene in warm hues of orange and gold. Villagers greet you with smiles and nods, their faces etched with the weariness of a long day's work. You return their greetings, feeling a sense of belonging and connection to your community. You pass by TJSET's bakery, the warm glow of the oven spilling out into the street. She waves to you from inside, her face flushed with heat. You smile back, grateful for her hard work and for the delicious bread that she provides for your village. You continue on your way, your steps quickening as you approach your hut. Your children run out to meet you, their faces alight with joy. They grab your hands, tugging you towards home, eager to see the honey that you have brought. You laugh, indulging their enthusiasm, and allow them to lead you the rest of the way. Your wife greets you at the door, her eyes filled with love and gratitude. She helps you to unload the heavy pots of honey, carefully placing them inside your dwelling. You are surrounded by your family, their presence a source of comfort and strength. You feel a deep sense of contentment, knowing that you are loved and appreciated. You sit down to eat a simple meal of bread, vegetables, and a small portion of honey. The honey is a special treat, reserved for celebrations and special occasions. You savor each bite, enjoying the sweetness and the energy that it provides. Your family shares stories of their day, their voices filling the room with laughter and warmth. You listen attentively, grateful for their companionship and for the simple pleasures of life. After the meal, you gather your family together to offer a prayer of thanks to the gods. You express your gratitude for their blessings, for the bounty of the harvest, and for the health and well-being of your family. You also pray for guidance and protection, asking the gods to watch over you and your community. The Egyptian word for honey, bit, was also used to refer to the king of Upper Egypt, highlighting the sweet substance's connection to royalty and power. You prepare for bed, feeling tired but fulfilled. You lie down on your simple mat, your head resting on a makeshift pillow. You close your eyes, listening to the sounds of the night. The sounds of the night lull you into a peaceful sleep. The chirping of crickets, the hooting of an owl, and the distant murmur of the Nile. You dream of bees, honeycombs, and the endless flow of the river. You dream of your family, their faces filled with love and laughter. You dream of the gods, their presence a source of comfort and guidance. As you sleep, you are transported to another realm, a world of symbols and metaphors, where the boundaries between reality and imagination blur. You are a beekeeper, a servant of the bees, and a vital part of the ancient world. You are also a dreamer, a traveler through the realms of the subconscious, where the secrets of the universe are revealed. You feel small and insignificant, yet somehow connected to everything that exists. You see yourself standing in a field of wildflowers, surrounded by buzzing bees. The air is thick with the scent of nectar and pollen. The sun shines brightly overhead, warming your skin and filling you with energy. You are wearing a simple linen tunic and sandals. You are holding a curved knife in your hand. You approach a hive, preparing to harvest the honey. But as you reach out to touch the hive, it begins to transform. The clay bricks morph into gold, the bees turn into winged serpents, and the honey becomes a shimmering elixir. You are no longer a beekeeper. You are an alchemist, a seeker of hidden knowledge, and a transformer of matter. The serpent speaks, but his language doesn't make sense. You are no longer in ancient Egypt. You are in a laboratory, surrounded by bubbling flasks, strange instruments, and arcane symbols. You are searching for the philosopher's stone, the key to immortality and ultimate wisdom. The sweat is pouring down your face. You are tired, but the stone continues to elude you. As you reach out to touch the stone, it shatters into 1,000 pieces, and you realize that the true treasure was not the stone itself, but the journey that you have taken. You are no longer an alchemist. You are a philosopher, a seeker of truth, and a lover of wisdom. You realize the futility of the search. You are standing on the banks of the Nile, watching the sun rise over the horizon. The river flows endlessly, carrying life and prosperity to the land. You are surrounded by your family, their faces filled with love and gratitude. You are grateful for the simple pleasures of life, for the warmth of the sun, the coolness of the breeze, and the companionship of your loved ones. You realize that true happiness lies not in material possessions or worldly achievements, but in the relationships that you have with others, and in being grateful for all that you have. As the dream fades, you slowly awaken, the images and sensations of the night lingering in your mind. The first rays of sunlight stream through the cracks in your hut, illuminating the simple interior. The air is cool and fresh, carrying the scent of morning dew and the distant sound of birdsong. You stretch your limbs, feeling refreshed and invigorated. You rise from your mat, ready to face another day. You dress in your simple linen tunic and sandals, preparing for the work ahead. You offer a silent prayer to the gods, thanking them for the gift of sleep and for the promise of a new day. You step outside your hut, greeted by the sight of your village awakening. People are stirring, tending to their daily tasks, their movements purposeful and efficient. You see TJS at the baker lighting her oven, the smoke curling upwards into the sky. You wave to her and she smiles back, her face already flushed with heat. You see your children playing in the street, their laughter filling the air with joy. You smile, feeling a sense of pride and love for your family. You set off towards the apiary, your steps light and purposeful. You are eager to return to your work, to tend to the bees and to harvest their bounty. You are a beekeeper, a servant of the bees, and a vital part of the ancient world. You are also a member of a community, a part of something larger than yourself. You find fulfillment in your work. You are content with your life. According to some ancient Egyptian medical texts, honey was used to treat a variety of ailments, including wounds, burns, and eye infections. Its antibacterial properties made it an effective remedy for preventing infection and promoting healing. You arrive at the apiary, greeted by the familiar buzzing of the bees. You take a deep breath, inhaling the sweet scent of beeswax and honey. The air is still cool, but the sun is beginning to warm the earth. You prepare your tools, gathering your smoker, your curved knife, and your empty clay pots. You are ready to begin another day of work, another day of service, and another day of connection with the ancient world. The bees greet you with their usual fervor, a buzzing cloud of industry focused on their eternal task. As you begin to carefully smoke the hives, a familiar figure approaches from the edge of the field. It's Hori, the village scribe, his papyrus scrolls clutched tightly in his hands. He looks out of place among the wild flowers and buzzing insects. His crisp white linen robes a stark contrast to the earthy tones of the apiary. Hori has been commissioned to record how your honey will be distributed throughout the village. He has a long list of names, with the amounts of honey allocated to each. The amounts are often incorrect, and he doesn't check with you. Hori is a man of order and precision, a keeper of records and a servant of the pharaoh. He is educated, respected, and perhaps a little envied by those who cannot read or write. He knows about the Great Pyramids and is loyal to the pharaoh. However, he is also burdened by his own limitations, trapped in a world of bureaucracy and rules, far removed from the simple pleasures of life. The villagers avoid him. Hori adjusts his spectacles, peering at you with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. He sees you as a simple beekeeper, a worker of the land, far beneath his own station. He knows your honey keeps the village healthy and sweet, but he can't taste the same joy you find. The honey is just data to him. His days are spent in a dimly lit room, bent over papyrus scrolls, meticulously copying texts, recording transactions, and drafting letters for the pharaoh. The work is tedious and demanding, requiring intense concentration and unwavering attention to detail. His fingers ache from holding the stylus, his eyes strain from reading the tiny hieroglyphs, and his back aches from sitting for long hours. His workspace is austere, a simple wooden desk, a stool, and a shelf filled with scrolls. The air is thick with the smell of ink and papyrus. He is surrounded by the tools of his trade, his stylus, his inkwell, his palette, and his collection of scrolls. In addition to his clerical duties, Hori also serves as a teacher, instructing young scribes in the art of writing and record-keeping. He takes pride in his role as an educator, passing on his knowledge and skills to the next generation. He knows the children don't want to learn, but he doesn't care. As Hori approaches, the buzzing of the bees seems to intensify, creating a dissonant hum that clashes with the scribe's orderly world. The same sun that warms your skin glints off Hori's spectacles, momentarily blinding him as he steps closer to the hives. He shuffles through his scrolls, searching for your name on his list, his brow furrowed in concentration. You offer him a polite greeting, but he barely acknowledges it, his mind consumed by his task. He doesn't care about you. He just needs to know you are there, Beekeeper, he says, his voice dry and officious. I am here to record the amount of honey you will be contributing to the pharaoh's stores. Be precise. He holds out his scroll, his eyes scanning the hieroglyphs, searching for the appropriate entry. You sigh inwardly, knowing that this will be a long and tedious process. Hori is a stickler for details, and he will insist on verifying every measurement, every calculation. You try to be patient, understanding that he is simply doing his job, but you can't help but feel a sense of resentment towards his rigid and impersonal approach. You have to repeat yourself several times. You begin to carefully harvest the honey, smoking the hives, removing the honeycombs, and scraping the golden liquid into your clay pots. Hori watches you intently, his stylus poised above his scroll, recording every step of the process. He asks questions, demanding explanations and challenging your methods. You answer him patiently, trying to explain the complexities of beekeeping, the nuances of the harvest, and the importance of respecting the bees. But he doesn't seem to understand, his mind fixed on his numbers, his records, and his duty to the pharaoh. He only cares about the numbers. Your knuckles split on the tea basket's bamboo weave, blood and leaf stains merging as you work. You can't help but reflect on the differences between your life and Hori's. You are a beekeeper, connected to the land, to the seasons, and to the rhythms of nature. You find fulfillment in your work, in the sweetness of the honey, and in the harmony of the hive. Hori is a scribe, disconnected from the natural world, confined to a world of documents, numbers, and rules. He finds meaning in his service to the pharaoh, in the order that he imposes on the world, and in the power that he wields through his knowledge of writing. You are bound by tradition and duty. Yet, despite your differences, you recognize that you are both essential parts of the ancient world, each playing a vital role in the functioning of society. Your roles are very different, but you depend on each other to survive. You are dependent on the land, and he depends on his power. The sun climbs higher in the sky, casting its warm glow upon the land. The bees continue to buzz, the honey continues to flow, and life continues its eternal cycle. You are a beekeeper, a servant of the bees, and a member of a community that stretches back thousands of years. You are a part of something larger than yourself, a link in a chain that connects the present to the past. Historians debate whether ancient Egyptian beekeepers understood the complex social structure of bee colonies, but their practical knowledge of hive management and honey production is undeniable. Weird beliefs about honey persisted for centuries. Some cultures believed that honey had magical properties, capable of healing wounds, warding off evil spirits, and even granting immortality. As the day draws to a close, you gather your tools, pack your honey pots, and prepare to return to your village. You bid farewell to Hori, who remains behind, meticulously reviewing his records, ensuring that every number is correct. As you walk away, you can't help but feel a sense of gratitude for your life, for your work, and for your connection to the ancient world. You are a beekeeper, a dreamer, and a member of a community that values tradition, hard work, and connection to the natural world. Historians argue if peasants resented scribes or pitied them. In the end, you understand that true meaning in life is not about power or wealth, but about connection to the earth, sweetness of labor, and the love for family. As you walk towards home, you see the village with new eyes. You realize that everyone else is just like you, trying to do the best they can in order to survive. Your life is simple, but it is also rich with meaning. As you approach your home, you breathe the air deeply, knowing that you are a small part of an ancient story, a world that has shaped you in ways you may never fully understand. The taste of honey lingers on your tongue, a reminder of the sweetness that can be found even in the simplest of lives. The memory of the dream remains, a reminder that beyond the daily routine, there are mysteries and insights that await you in the depths of your mind.